Today we're going to turn this from a beat up old nightstand into something a little bit nicer. We're not that channel, we're just kind of doing stuff just to show you guys that you don't have to be an expert to do something. Go ahead, give it a shot, see what happens. Hey everyone, welcome back to IT Garage. Today we're in the basement and we have this Kent Coffey end table. And this is going to be something that we're going to redo real quick. It's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be showroom quality, it's not going to be worth $500 like you see online. But this will be able to be used inside your house, in your bedroom, in your living room, wherever you want to put it. You won't have to worry about it being nicked or scratched because it's not going to be perfect. We're missing a big chunk of veneer over here, and it's got a pretty good dent back here in the back. Alright, so first things first. We gotta take care of the veneer that is not off yet, but will be soon. And so you can kind of hear it's a little bit loose. So we're gonna come in here just with a little bit of glue. We're gonna glue it down, clamp it so it stays down over here too in this corner. You know, it's just tore up just a little bit. And I think that's really all the veneer that's gonna need. Oh, just kidding. There's a good chunk over here that's gonna need glued down. And like I said, there's a big chunk of veneer missing down here over in the corner. So, and maybe all this should get touched up. I know that seems pretty good. That should be all right. Like I said, this isn't gonna be perfect. It's pretty rough right now, but I really think that we're gonna clean this up and anyone would be, you know, happy to have this in their house. The drawer opens and closes real nice, so it's all there. Everything's good to go. And this is actually a knob that I found in my collection that I have over here that we've got out from over the years. We have all sorts of stuff in here, so I found one that fit pretty nice. I thought about going with this and maybe painting it silver, but I kind of really like the gold finish on this one. So what we're going to do now, like I said, is we're going to go ahead and just kind of go over the whole piece and just put a little bit of glue wherever it needs it. I've got some supplies here that are going to be what we use to fix this veneer up. I've done this in the past. It seems to work pretty well. And what we're going to need is something small. This is just a little right angle pick. You're going to take your wood glue and you're just going to do it right over your hand and make a mess. But you're going to take it and kind of lift up the veneer just a little bit and just kind of get it as far in there as you can. You don't need a whole lot. This is probably even excessive. But just get it in there wherever it's just a little bit loose. Then what we'll do is we'll take this board that I'm mixing or setting the glue on, and we will put it on top with a little bit of just a couple clamps. Let it sit for an hour or two. It's lunchtime on Friday, like I said. This is not my day job. This is just what I do for fun. So come down here over lunch, get some stuff done so that I can go back up, finish work, come back, and it'll be ready to go. As you can see, I got that piece of wood up there, clamped it down. We're going to wipe off any excess glue that squeezes out just so it's a little bit of a mess, less of a mess later to clean up. That should get the back done, which is all that I'm really worried about because that's really what you see when you have an end table like this. You'll see the front and you'll see the top. So if we were to paint this lip either white or maybe black, that would be enough that we could pull this veneer off and cut it up and put it right here. And I think that's what I'll probably do. So I'm actually going to take those clamps off and we're just going to do a nice little black line. It'll look good. We'll put some sort of filler on it so it's all nice and smooth. So because this is already peeling off, what we're going to do is just, oh, there we go, look at that. There's a weak spot right there. So we're going to get this dirty putty knife that I found. And we're going to get it just up behind there and just try our best just to kind of work it off just a little bit. And you could probably get a heat gun and kind of heat it up and make it go a little bit smoother. But I think that this piece right here is already more than enough to get what we need for the other side. And because this piece is actually, you know, mid-century, the glue pretty much just popped right off. There wasn't a ton of work there to get that off. There was one little stubborn piece that might have been a touch-up from somebody, so go ahead and scrape that off, but I won't show you that. Getting this little razor up behind was just so much easier than using the, you know, the dirty putty knife that I just dropped. So we won't be needing that anymore, I don't think. So now I'm going to show you that this is, again, plenty to patch that right there. Get it lined up, get it right about there. Like I said, we might use a little scrap piece right here, get that touched up, just to, you know, try just a little bit. So I'm really not worried about when it comes to veneer furniture. You know, it's thin, but you know, just be careful when you sand it. Just don't give it all the beans right away. You know, do it lightly. Take your time. It's not a race. So now we've got this cut out. So we're just gonna take it, measure it, get it up there, and I won't show you that. It's just, you know, cut and match. So, all right, now I got it cut about where it needs to be. We'll do some fine tuning, but guys, cut it longer than you need it. You know, you can't add more wood onto it after you cut it off. And like I said, we're just kind of eyeballing it here. I didn't measure this. I have no idea how long this is or how wide it is. But what's really cool about this veneer is that all the grain runs this way. So you just find out where your edge is there. And then you just take it and do a little tiny cut like that. And then just split it just like that, nice and easy. And just like that, we are way closer to fitting. So gonna do some fine tuning, get it up there. There it is. As you can see, it's just the glue friction, you know, whatever that scientific term is, holding it up. So I'm gonna get a piece of tape and just tape it on there just to make sure. Then, you know, obviously do not remove the tape until you're 100% certain that that glue is dry, so just pull it right up with the tape. I'm gonna go ahead and touch up these spots over here, but we'll do that off camera. You don't need to see every one. One is enough to understand how it goes. Now I did leave a bottom here, and that's all right. What I'll do is when this is dry, as opposed to trying to get it perfect now, is I'll just take my razor blade and just run it right along the edge there when it's done drying, and it'll cut off. And once again, is this perfect? No. You can see it. You can see the tiny little gap there, right there, and you can see some over here. That's glue in the void. The point of this isn't to be perfect. The point of this is to be presentable, and I really think that that's going to be just fine. So we're going to do the same for those little two over there, and we'll let this dry. And lunch is about over, so I've got to go back up and finish the day job and let all this dry. We'll come back down this evening, and we'll start probably stripping it. All right, so we didn't get back at it last night. We went out to eat, had some nice stuff going on. So here we are today. All this is way dry by now. I already peeled the tape off the side, so but just, you know, taking off the braces here, and we'll see that veneer, there we go, like that, it's nice and glued down. Now there's a little bit of glue here on the edge of the front. We'll probably just pick off, yeah, see, we'll pick off what is kind of way too much. And then when we strip this or sand it, the rest of that will come off, no problem. So as you can see, these right here look pretty good. I'll show you how to trim those here in a second. But just pop this off the top and then peel forward so that you don't lift up the veneer backwards. And that looks pretty good. We're gonna grab our knife here. It's a little bit sharp. You know, grab the sharper the better. And then very carefully, and you know, cutting away from yourself, just go ahead and just trim that off. Just try to get it as close to the rest as you can. I think that right there is pretty close. And then when we come through with some sanding, we can sand that down just a little bit, touch it up. I've decided that I'm going to strip this piece, even though I could probably get away with just sanding, because there's barely anything left in some parts of this, but when doing one solid piece like this, it's nice to be as uniform as possible. So just take whatever paint, stripper you got. I like the stuff that says premium on it. It just seems to work a little bit faster. What I seem to find that works the best. This is what I like to use. I like to use just a spatula. Some people like to use plastic ones, but I like the metal ones. You just gotta be careful not to dig into the product at all. And then this is just a Dollar Tree buy 3 for $1, 4 for $1. And I like it to scrape my excess into. So yeah, just scrape off. Get what you can. And just wipe it off. Then just keep going. So I did do the front too. Whatever you can get off with paint stripper. You don't have to get off with a sander. Save some sandpaper and time, and make less dust in your workspace is always the best for me personally. So just gonna keep after it. And I did the whole front here too, so we'll see what this looks like. Is that gonna play nice? It did. You can see the difference right there. At least I can. I don't know if you can, but it definitely pulled the finish off. And so I have another brush, and I'll go grab that real quick. I don't remember where I got it from. There's no name on it. I like using this for the edges here. It just kind of helps pull it off, but also all these curved pieces up here. You can see it's just kind of wiping that finish right off. And then it gets all up in the bristles, and so you gotta clean it every once in a while, but this is nice for those spots that aren't just nice and flat like the top. I got all that scraped off as good as I'm gonna get it. Again, we're gonna sand it, so not too worried, it doesn't have to be perfect, but something I have been using lately that I really like is this. This is After Wash. This one's by Clean Strip. Again, should probably use gloves like this person is, but I don't know where any gloves are right now. I'm just going to use this rag. This is just use whatever. I would use something white. I wouldn't use something that would let the color out. But just put it on there, wipe it off. And this is just going to pull any, it might pull some color of the old stain out. But what it will definitely do is pull up any paint stripper that's left and leave you a nice surface to start staining. You might have to go, wipe it more than one time if you left a little bit more paint stripper or varnish there. But just kind of go ahead and get it all off and just wipe down the whole piece with this, and then you'll be ready to sand. So moved outside, try to keep the noise in the house down. It shouldn't be too bad. The sander's pretty quiet. Just gonna hit it with 100 grit on top. And guys, remember, it's veneer, so be careful, specifically on the edges, because you'll burn through the edges first every time. Ask me how I know. And then just real light. Let the sandpaper do the work. Don't be pushing down on the machine, And if you're really nervous, then just do it by hand. But because we have this big spot right here, we're gonna go and use the machine, try to get it down. And we're going to use 100 grit on the first pass, and then we're going to use 20 grit, 220 grit on the second pass. Alright, so I got you guys zoomed in now, and as you can see, that sander about took out that front stain. There's still a little bit of lines there, but I'm really not worried. I think that looks 10 times better at least. But we have this spot right here. I'm going to show you the little trick just to get a little bit more dig on one spot in particular. So I'm just taking the sander and I'm just kind of turning it up just a little bit on the edge. And that's just enough to kind of dig down in the spot. And you can feel a slight divot there where I kind of really got into it. This veneer's thick enough that I don't think it's going to cause that many of issues. And even if there's a slight lack of grain here, I still think that's going to look better than that. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing here. Alright guys, and just like that, that black spot is about gone. So I might hit this spot right here. And look at this patch back here, guys. Yeah, you can see it just a little bit, but I still think that looks way better than the big gap that was there. Be sure to set your drawer on top of the freshly sanded surface so it mars it up and you have to re-sand it, a little bit heavier. So, like I said, I might have done this before, but it doesn't make me perfect. All right, well, we got it all sanded. And like I said, I'm probably marring this up again. Oh well. That's all right. We'll see how it turns out so you can see what it looks like if you don't get it perfect. But we have it all sanded down. We're good to go. I think it looks pretty good. So we're going to go inside and we are going to see what stains I have to get this done. See what's bad. Probably going to have to put some, toss some stuff out. It's been a while since I've done a furniture piece. And we'll probably end up using some sort of gel stain in a walnut color. And this may or may not be a walnut veneer. But the sides of this, these legs, they're a solid wood. They're not a veneer. And so because they're made of solid wood, they use a cheaper wood that they can tint to look similar to the top. So a lot of the times they use pecan. So we'll see how that looks. We might have to go darker or a second coat on these legs to get them to kind of match the rest of the piece. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, so here we are in the basement. We got this back down here now. We can see what kind of stains that we have to try to do this. So I'm gonna grab this Early American. I really like this. And we're gonna take this and put it on that. We'll see how it goes. So we at least got the floor cleaned up a little bit. And not my proudest moment, but I really wish I had gloves for this part. And so I don't have our gloves. What I do have is a blue bag, just wherever this came from. It was sitting over there in the corner. So we're gonna take this. I like using these foam brushes when it comes to the gel stain. And we're gonna wipe it on. And then shortly after, I'm gonna go grab another one of those white towels that I have. Just wipe it off. You do not let this sit on very long. So there's a nice chunk of it. Put this down here. We'll just kind of, again, wipe with the grain. Make sure you get those spots where the veneer is missing so that hopefully darkens up as well. And you're just gonna basically paint it on. And I'm loving this color and the way it's looking already. So hopefully it continues throughout the piece. Get the front of this too at the same time. Try to, get a nice line of where you've worked and where you haven't worked. Just a little spot right there. Just go all the way around. I'm trying, but I'm gonna end up with Early American hands. I don't see that. You can avoid it. Now, look at that, guys. I don't think we can complain about how that turned out in the slightest. And look at that big black spot. It is just about gone. I mean, you see the spot there, but that's not the black spot. That's more the wood. There's another dark spot there. That's just the grain. I think that is a huge improvement from what we had. And I'm going to copy this over the whole piece. I cannot be more excited with how this turned out. The whole piece is uniform. Even the solid wood versus the veneer, it is so close that I'm not even going to attempt anything else. So according to the back of this jar, which I bought at Ollie's, by the way, so this cost me 99 cents for this 8 fluid ounces, and I probably used a tenth of it. So we'll say that coloring this piece cost us 10 cents. You just gotta know where to look. You get a little lucky sometimes, but a blind squirrel finds a nut, or whatever that saying is. This has to wait 2 hours before we can top coat. We're not going to do that. We are going to wait maybe 40 minutes. I told you I need to wash my hands, so I'm going to get that done. I'm starting to lean towards a satin finish on this, which is what our wipe on polyurethane happens to be. I'm just gonna wipe this on, again, using these same rags. These are just paint rags from Home Depot. They come in a big square tube and they weren't that much, and I've been using them for 2 years and I still have quite a bit left. So as it turns out, it's been almost 2 hours. I got distracted watching some YouTube videos and I found found some gloves. I did have some up in the carport, so I grabbed this one and another one. So this is dry, feeling good, looking good. In this cup I have the polyurethane. It's just the wipe on, so we're going to take this lint-free rag, just give it a wipe. I'm gonna just finish up this whole piece and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. I think I've got every part of this covered. As you can see, there's some lines, but that's alright. It self-levels a little bit, being a wipe on. And then also, this is just the first coat. We're probably gonna do 2, maybe 3 coats. I think I've got everywhere. And also guys, make sure just to do this on your bare concrete floor, so when you get polyurethane on the floor or stain, you get to clean it up later. Maybe just put down an old trash bag, an old towel, something. Just wasn't thinking, got a little rushed and ahead of myself. But guys, I cannot believe how well this has turned out. It's dark outside. Work kept me busy today again, so it's again pretty late trying to work on this. What we're gonna do right now is all the first coat of polyurethane is dried. So we're gonna take a 320 grit and we are going to just by hand, just ever so lightly rub this. And right now is more important than ever to really be light on the corners, because if you sand too hard, you're gonna go right through the top coat, which is really thin, and through the stain, and you're gonna get the raw wood. So unless you're going for a distressed look around the edge, which is not what we're doing here, be very careful on the edges. So we're just gonna go ahead and, I'm just talking like just a little bit, just to go and make that top just a little bit smoother than it is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe down this whole piece again, and I'll give you a little clip when it's done, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow. This step really is just kinda, wipe and wait. This is self-leveling, and the issue that I forgot about, and that I always run into with this, is that you kinda have to put a good amount on for it to actually self-level. If you just put a thin coat on, there's not enough material for it to do what it's supposed to do. So you kind of got to put a little bit on there, a little bit thicker, which is okay. Worst case is you sand it off and try again, which is basically how I've learned and had the confidence to do this. Is you really can't mess it up irreversibly bad. You just have to get creative with where you go next. It might not go where you want it to go. If we were doing these veneer patches down here and they turned out terrible and it didn't work at all, or the veneer didn't match, or we didn't have any to take, and then we just would have painted it. It wouldn't, you can't be so dead set on a plan, because when you make a plan, in my opinion, they never go that way. That could just be me. That could just be my poor planning skills. But I don't know. I think other people will agree. Alright guys, also be sure to work on your furniture and your new shirt and decent pants so that you get stuff all over them. But we finished it up for the night. Let me get this out of the way. It's kind of late again, so we're gonna take a look at this and just see, as you can look at right here. Let me get you down here. You can see that's on there. It's not totally perfect. There's some ridges in it, But like I said, hopefully this self levels like it's supposed to, and it looks pretty decent when done. Now this is also going to be a satin finish, so it's not going to be super high gloss, so it should look pretty good even with some imperfections in it. You can even see right here there's a ridge. Well, that ridge is too much from the first time. I didn't want to sand it down too heavily because I didn't want to make a light spot. I feel like a light spot finished would be more noticeable than a little bit of extra top coat. So I think it looks pretty good. Hey everyone, next morning, and I gotta say, this looks great. It's got just a little bit of a spot right here. Can you see it right there? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one more coat. There's still just a little bit of inconsistency in the finish, so I'm gonna do another quick light coat, another light sand, and I'm gonna be careful, but try to level that out just a little bit there and right there. And I'm just gonna do the top. And I remembered one thing yesterday. You don't have to use the 320 sandpaper. Go ahead and find you some steel wool. Get the more finer stuff. This is 00. In my opinion, the quad 0 is way too fine. That's for like polishing chrome. It's like rubbing a paper bag on the material and it just isn't going to cut it. So we're going to grab one of these and we'll use this for just roughing up that finish just a little bit. Try to smooth it out just a little bit. Then we'll go ahead and do one more heavy coat on top, just on the very top. The rest of it looks good. It is beautiful outside. It's about 70 degrees. You can see the flowers over there. They're nice and pretty right now. So just trying to be outside, enjoy the weather a little bit. Have these doors open. It's way colder in the basement than it is out there outside right now. So we're gonna have the door open today while we work. Again, just over lunch. So only got a few minutes left of lunch. I was trying to spend a lot of it outside with the dogs. So here we are. Just real light here over the whole piece. And again, going with the grain, try to keep all your sanding marks the same. And you can already see right there was a little high spot. So try to knock that down just a little bit. Get the rest of this just a little bit better looking. But also, you could just stop here and be done. If this doesn't bother you and this doesn't bother you, then you're done. Just reassemble and call it a day. But I think I'm probably going to end up selling this piece to try to help pay for some other projects we got going around here. So if we can make a few bucks, then awesome. For this last coat, I did pull out a paintbrush. Even though it is just a wipe-on poly, I feel like the paintbrush just gives a slightly better finish for the self-leveling. It just helps it really meld together, as opposed to the just using a rag where you get kind of hard spots. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but right about here, when I rub the brush across, there's going to be an inconsistency in the finish. And so that means that it's light finish there. So just take a little bit more, just dip, put some there, go back and forth, and just get that uniform look. And you can actually feel it with the brush. You can feel the brush almost hang up on those spots as opposed to just gliding over nice and easy. And always go along the side and just wipe the side so you don't get those drips. I know you've been to a table at a restaurant that's been epoxied and you can feel all the ridges underneath with your fingers. So we're going to try to avoid that here on this piece. I think that's going to turn out great. It looks so good right now. Hopefully it stays that way. And I'm just going to go ahead and call this done. Just however this turns out, that's going to be the way that it looks. I don't see any hairs. No beard hairs, no regular hairs, no brush bristles in the top of this, so I think it should look pretty good. Alright everyone, so here it is. I think it turned out awesome. I don't think there's anything that I would change. I did not end up doing the lip on the front here. I think it looks great as is. Very little marks where I would say, you know, imperfections. The rest of it looks awesome. I really love it. And for being just a few dollars into this, not a few dollars, a few dollars over purchase price into this, I really think it turned out great. Now I know that everyone doesn't have stain and polyurethane just sitting at home, but that's something that you buy for this project, and then it lasts for a while. You don't have to use it all up, and it stays for a long time. So it's not really it is a cost, don't get me wrong, but you know, you can do 3 or 4 pieces with it. I love it. I think it looks great, and I hope you guys do too. Stay tuned for more pieces like this. I really like the mid-century style. They're easy to sell right now. It's really, really hot. Not so hard to find project pieces, but you know, it is what it is. If you live up in the Midwest, it'll be a lot easier to find pieces like this than if you live in the South or out on the West Coast. All right, guys. Well, thanks again. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you have, you know, subscribed and see what else we got going on here. And I think after this video, we're going to get into some automotive stuff. All right, thanks.